Hey, so you're here, I'm here. Let's just get right into the video. So in this video, I'm going to teach you 6 cool activities that you can use in your class to teach the 5th grade standard 5.NBT.1, which is basically the base 10 number system and the place value patterns with the relationships between each place value. So if you're anything like me, it was tough finding free resources that would help your students understand this standard. So I just wanted to make sure that you had all the free resources and cool activities that can make this standard fun and engaging for your students. So hopefully this will not only be engaging for your students, but this will allow your students to understand 5.NBT.1 standard. So the very first activity that I would have them do to introduce this standard is I would see where they're at, and I would have them make a list of different types of numbers. Now, with this can be this can have your students be a little bit hesitant before doing this, because they're like, what do you mean make a list of numbers? Just list out numbers? And you're going to see that you're just going to repeat it. So if you want to really challenge your students, you can just say, hey, make a list of different types of numbers. And when they ask, what do you mean by that? Just repeat, make a list of different types of numbers. And this is, you can see where they're at. Now, you're going to more than likely have students actually put different types of numbers. And they're going to list out like 1, 2, 3. Some of them are going to be like 100, 1,000, 10,000. And you're going to have a bunch of different answers like that. If you want it to be more structured, you might hear some students say, are fractions numbers? Decimals? You'll say, aha. And then as people are coming up with their lists, you can say, I heard this group say that fractions are types of numbers. And then they'll be like, oh, okay. And then they'll start saying decimals. And then now you might have a group that might not get there and they might just list the numbers. That is okay. You're going to have some students that actually list place values, and that is cool too. So you might have someone say the ones, the tens, the hundreds, and you can use that to segue into the standard. So this activity is more so to engage your students and to explore where they're at. Just to see, okay, I'm going to meet my students where they're at so that I can use what they know to segue into this 5th grade standard. As your students or as your groups are making the list of the different types of numbers, eventually, as they say, maybe fractions, decimals, you may even have some students say whole numbers, and that's how you can get them into really segue into, okay, whole numbers is what we're going to focus on this unit. And if you're doing the unit with decimals, you can also say, we're also going to focus on decimals as well. But just let them know that we're going to talk about something called the base 10 number system. And all the numbers that you know is based off this base 10 number system. So that will just give you a good way to just meet them where they're at and also connect what they know to what you're about to learn. That will engage them immediately. After I have them make a list of different types of numbers, I will dedicate the rest of the class to researching the base 10 number system. This is something that I just started this year, and I did it with my more advanced or higher performing classes. And so I provided them with 2 videos and an article, which I'm linking in the description below. And I have them use those resources to research about the base 10 number system. And then there's this graphic organizer that I found free on Teachers Pay Teachers, which is also linked below. And I have them watch the videos, read the article, and they're going to use that to answer the different questions on the graphic organizer. So on the graphic organizer, there is like, it has like the historical events. Okay, this is something you would use for social studies, but you can also use this for the base 10 number system. So the base 10 number system is the historical event that we're going to be researching. We're going to have the what is it? The when was it created? The why was it created? The how was it created? The who created it? The where do we use it? And then the so why is it even important? And you're going to have them use the videos and the article to fill out this graphic organizer. And whatever they don't finish in class, they can finish it also for homework, and you can just have these videos available for them to watch. Now, something with this is I feel like I wanted to do this because I wanted them to be accountable and to feel like, okay, I have researched this myself. I know the base 10 number system. You know, I have done research on it, so I get the whole origin of the base 10 number system. I wanted to do that this year because I wanted them to like have that, you know, just own research about it before they just start learning about it. Because I was always that kid that was like, why are we even learning about this? What is this? When did this even start? Like, and I wanted them to have that and also integrate some social studies in it so that they can be aware and they can feel more confident as they're learning this. So definitely would recommend research base 10 number system using that graphic organizer, and all of that is linked below in the description. The third way which is my favorite activity to do with this. I did this year and it went so well. It is the Notice Wonder. And if you haven't done Notice Wonder before, Notice Wonder is where you have this T-chart and you say, what do you notice? And then on the other side of the T-chart, you say, what do you wonder? So you either have a picture or a video. And before you play, and for this activity, you play a video. And before you play the video, say, hey, while you're watching this video, I want you to think about what do you notice while watching the video. And then while you're watching the video, what does it make you wonder about? And this will have their brains going and thinking because you prefaced it before you played the video. So they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to be looking out for stuff while watching the video. So then you play the video and then they're going to be looking for things they notice. They're going to be looking for, what does this make me wonder about? After you're done with the video, then you're going to have the T-chart, or this is what I did. I had the T-chart on the board. What did you notice on one side? What did you wonder? And I said, okay, what did you notice? And all the kids who volunteered and had their hands up, I wrote everything that they noticed, no matter what it was. The reason for this is because it makes them feel a part of the lesson. They have that participation, and you notice that there's no real math going on. It's just, what did I notice? That's it. And that is equitable. That's for all students, and it allows all students to participate in the lesson and feel a part of the lesson. And like, okay, I can do this. I can just say what I noticed. So you write down whatever it is that they notice, you're writing it down on the notice thing. After you do the notice, then you do the wonder. And the wonder is like, so what did the video make you wonder about? And you're going to get so many different responses. By the way, this video is called, I didn't think I ever told you about the video. Okay, so this video is called How Many People Can the Earth Hold? And it's on YouTube, and I linked it below. And basically, it gives the question, how many people can the earth hold? And it really makes you think about, do we have enough resources for the people on earth? Will we have enough resources as time goes on? How many people do we have on earth now? How many people will there be on earth? How many people can the earth actually hold? And it's just this really thought-provoking video, and it does give out some numbers and everything throughout the video, but it just really makes you stop and think like, wow. So you're going to hear some really cool wonders when you ask, what did you wonder? And some people are going to repeat the question of the video, how many people can the earth actually hold? And that's a good wonder. It's so many different wonders that you're gonna get, and it's gonna really like be so cool to just see where their brain goes. And it's just gonna be like, wow, okay. So yeah, that's the notice and wonder. And I love this activity because it really makes them a part of the lesson, and it really has them thinking. All right, so next, the fourth activity is the place value chart notes. Every activity is not going to be, woo, yeah, ah, okay? Sometimes you're just gonna have to sit down and take some notes. So you'll have them glue this free notes that I found on Teachers Pay Teachers, link below, and you'll have them glue this in their interactive notebook. Now, after they have it glued down, you're actually going to go over it with them. So you're going to talk about how, okay, this place value to the left of what's to the right is 10 times what's to the right of it. And you're going to say what these arrows mean. You're going to have them draw out the arrows, and you're going to have them talk about what it means. So you're saying like the tens place is 10 times the ones place. The hundreds place is 10 times the tens place. The thousands place is 10 times the thousands place. And you're going to talk about that with them. And you're going to each one. And then that's when you can start talking about, there's also this whole number part, and then there's the decimal part. So it even works even with the decimal part. So the ones place is 10 times the tenths place. The tenths place is 10 times the hundredths place. The hundredths place is 10 times the thousandths place. Okay, and you're going to just go over this with them. And then you're going to talk about how it is the opposite way. So you're going to say, okay, well, that means that the tenths place is 1/10 of the ones place. And that means the hundredths place is 1/10 of the tenths place. And the thousandths place is 1/10 of the thousandths place. And you're going to have them make that connection that whatever is to the right is 1/10 times greater than what is to the left. Okay, and you're gonna have to go slow and ask questions as you're doing the arrows, because as you do each arrow, they're going to get the pattern, but you want to make sure that they're understanding what these arrows and us writing times 10 or times 1/10 actually means. So make sure that you're going over that with them clearly. And you keep going and you're explaining that it's 1/10 times greater. Now, why would it be a fraction times greater? And that's when you ask them, and you might get some kids that said, because it's getting smaller, so when you're doing a fraction, it's taking part of it. So make sure that they understand that you're taking part of this, so that's why it's getting smaller. And remember, multiplying by 1/10 is the same exact thing as dividing by 10. So make sure that you go over this pattern and have them add this to these notes. And then after you do the notes, you can have them you can ask them questions like, okay, so the hundreds place is how many times greater than the ones place? They'll say, times 100. But I wouldn't start off with that. Maybe I'll start off with like, the 10,000s place is how many times greater than the thousands place? And they'll say 10 times. It's like, cool. All right, the millions place is how many times greater than the 100,000s place? 10 times. Cool. The thousands place is how many times greater than the hundreds place? 10 times greater. Cool. Then you could say, wait a minute, so the ones place is how many times greater than the tens place? And then you're going to hear them say 10 times. And that's where you're going to be like, okay, the tens place is 10 times greater than the ones place, but the ones place is how many times greater than the tens place? And then you'll have some kids be like, oh, maybe you have to think about it backwards. And then eventually they'll get 1/10 times. And you have to reiterate that the ones place is smaller than the tens place. So it's a fraction of that. So it's 1/10 times greater than the tens place. And just ask a few questions like that. And then maybe even challenge, if you really want to challenge them, ask questions that gets them 100 times greater, 1,000 times greater, or even 1/100th times greater, and see where they are when you're asking those questions. So this is how I do the notes to help with this standard. The fifth activity is an illustrative math task. And I have them work in groups, and they are going to use the notes that they just did, because I always do this activity after they've gone over the place value notes. And I have them use their notes to figure out this task. So when you click on the illustrative math link below, make sure that you click on student view. That way when you print it out and give it to each group, they can have that whole paper to try to figure out the task. And you're going to have them work in groups to figure this out. Now, some of your students are going to ask you, what does BCE mean? And then you can look it up. I told them before Christ, but someone told me like, no, that's what BC means, but BCE means something else. So let's actually Google now what BCE stands for. Before the Common Era, okay? So try not to be like me and be like, before Christ. So before the Common Era, but as I tried to explain to them, I just let them know that it's 4,000 years before year zero, okay? So after they figure that out, now some students, there are going to be some students that are going to try to use the 4000 BCE and do something with that number to try to help them figure out the answer. This is where you come into play, and not giving them the answer, but you're walking around and you're asking all of them, what is the question that's being asked? And they'll let you know how many times more people are there on Earth now than there were in 4000 BCE. And I'm like, so you're trying to figure out how many times greater is 7 billion than 7 million. And hopefully that gets them going, and they're like, oh, okay. And they're using place value chart and to help them figure that out. Now, this might be more challenging because I did this with my more advanced classes, and only one group out of each class was able to figure out the answer. So it's good for them to have that productive struggle though. So have them do that productive struggle, talk through it, think through it. I even had one group actually like do some multiplying by 10 each time, and they actually multiplied out by 10 to help them figure it out. And so that class I had about 2 groups get it. But it's just a good way to kind of introduce and see, like, are they getting the concept? And after you see a bunch of productive struggle and you see at least one group get it, you can start going over the answer on the board and talk about how, okay, I have 7 million and 7 billion, and I am going to, each place value is times 10 times 10 times 10, so that's 1,000 times greater. And it has the whole explanation of the correct answer on the Illustrative Math website. So this is another great activity that you can use to help with the 5.NBT.1 standard. Lastly, the 6th cool activity that you can use to teach the base 10 number system and place value relationships is a professional athlete versus an experienced teacher. Now, with this activity, you can see which sport most of your students really like. At my school, in my classes, my students mostly like soccer. So I just Googled some of the highest paid soccer players, and I came across Cristiano Ronaldo. and he plays for, I think, Portugal. So I found some clips of just how awesome Cristiano Ronaldo is. And I played like 1minute and 37 seconds of his amazing clips, his best clips. And when I played this, the kids, they were getting so excited, like, whoa, cool, oh my gosh. Yeah, and it just really got them engaged in the lesson. And I was like, we're gonna watch this because this is going to connect to what we're learning about place value. So I had them watch, like, I stopped at 1minute and 37 seconds, and I put the link to the clip below. And then, but you don't have to use soccer player. You can, if your students really like basketball, you can choose a basketball player, or you can have a hockey player if your students really like hockey, whichever sport that most of your students really like. And so you can do this, and after you show them a clip, says, all right, let's estimate how much do you think that Cristiano Ronaldo, or whatever your professional athlete, makes in a year. And I actually looked this up on my own, but I had them estimate and guess, and you get a bunch of different answers. And then, so after I get all the estimations, I say what the actual estimation is. And Cristiano Ronaldo actually makes $70 million a year playing soccer. So I wrote 70 million on the board. Then I was like, okay, now let's talk about an experienced teacher. Let's say a teacher that's been teaching for a long time. How much do you think they make? And I had them give estimations for that. And it's so interesting because some of my students were like, millions of dollars. And I was like, whoa, okay, I wish. But yeah, so you're gonna get different answers. And I actually looked this up, and I did it based off here in Georgia, in my county. And I looked at how much a 30-year teacher makes in a year. And so it's $70,000. So after I get all the estimations, I finally revealed that it's $70,000. And then they're like, what? Oh my gosh, da, da, da. So I write that, I line it up by place value and write it under 70 million. Then I ask students, let's figure out how much times greater Cristiano Ronaldo, or this professional athlete, makes than an experienced teacher. So I'll have them work that out, and we figure out the answer together. And this is just a cool activity because it just helps them just really see like how place value is, like the patterns between place values, and it gets them engaged because it's like, wow, this is like real life stuff, like we're figuring out. So yeah, I really love this activity. I'm so glad I did this year. This is my first year doing this, and the students were really engaged. Like they were super hyped, and they were actually really working hard trying to figure out how much times greater that this professional athlete makes than a teacher. And it kind of can get them, I'm kind of actually trying to teach them like, our society pays athletes way more than we pay teachers. There might be something wrong with that. I don't know. I'm just trying to put that little bug in the air. I don't say it, but I just want to see if they actually come to that conclusion. Like, wow, yeah. Trying to look out. Hopefully because they're going to be the future people of the world, and hopefully that they make our salaries more. So yeah. But yeah, so this is just a great activity to do with them, and it really helps them just understand the real world application of this standard. So those are the 6 cool activities that you can teach for 5.NBT.1, the base 10 number system, and the place value relationships. And hopefully this is helpful and that you can incorporate this in your classes. Now, for the first 2 activities I did on the same day, so where they made a list of the different types of numbers and they did research, I had that done in one day. The notice wonder and the place value chart notes, I had them do on a different day, on the next day. And also the illustrative math task, I had them do that. So the Notice Wonder video, the place value chart notes, and the illustrative math task, that's all one lesson. So have it done on one day. And then the Cristiano Ronaldo superhuman moments, where you play the clip and then have them estimate, I had them do that on a separate day. So this is like about 3 days worth of activities that you can do, and you can even separate it more, you can combine it more often, however works best for your classroom, okay? So hopefully this was helpful. If you like this video, please give this video a thumbs up and make sure that you subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, well, I hope that you have an awesome day of teaching, and if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. All right, have fun teaching.